Okay, we are live. Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're here today on Network Dialogues, a new perspective on indigenous digital communications. Oh, hello. Oh, there we go. Whoa. Okay, welcome back to the Digital Innovation Pavilion. We are here today on the Network Dialogues, a new perspective on indigenous digital communications, accompanied by a set of amazing speakers that we'll hear from today. And well, we hope you enjoy and can get some insightful experiences from them. I think that we can start with Shannon. If you wanna go with your perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that we first introduce each of us. My name is Shananin. I'm from Mexico. I'm from the Ingiwa community, and the narrative process that I've been having part is the Rizom Fellowship of the Culture Hack Labs, where we have been hacking the narratives of cities as territories of transition. So that is like the narrative process in what I have been part of. And now I'd like to hear from Alexi.
Okay. Thanks. Hi, my name is Alexis Grefa. I am from Ecuador. I'm indigenous zone about Amazon. I work with media in Ecuador about different problems or issues in the Amazon with petroleum, with mineria, and this is my the Amazon is my house because I protect this and doing the videos, photos for to go in with my friends to what's the word? Encontrar soluciones. So for trying solution, the real solutions, no, and this, yeah, and going to present Maria.
Hi, my name is Maria Reyes. I am also from Mexico, and I am also from Puebla, but from the Choluteca region. And I am part of Fridays for Future MAPA, which stands for Most Affected Peoples and Areas. But in Mexico, I organize with the Futuros Indígenas Network, which is a network of indigenous and non-indigenous communicators that are doing narrative hacking around the climate crisis and in the territories. And I am here bringing the word of one of the members of our collective who was not able to be here. I will be here sharing the word of Itashabi, who is a New Sabi woman from the Mixteca region in Oaxaca, in Mexico. Happy to be here.
Ok, so President, es el último, sí. Hi everyone, I'm Eric Terena from Terena Communities and in the south of the Amazon. When you start the big wetland is a pantanal is a large biome. I am journalist and DJ and activist, and I'm co-founder at Media Indígena. Changed to Media Indígena 1 years ago, but when you start the Media India, is a big collective in Brazil. We have 800 collaborates in the different parts in the Brazil. And we are collaborate with Muyo and Cultural Hacks and Fridays in different collectives, and to strongly our fight, to strongly the activism and to the participate the leaders indigenous from Brazil. And nice to meet you again one more time. And I hope to talk about the our fights and the to to how to say arreglar, como arrumar la comunicación. To fix communication. I don't know. Thank you, Paloma. And as yes, this is it until now. For you, Paloma.
Hi. Hi everyone, my name is Paloma Costa. Hope the world is seeing this amazing panel. I'm a big fan of everyone here. I'm not indigenous myself, but I do support and learn a lot along my road to understanding what it really means climate action. When I start learning about climate and how we were under a climate collapse, it was because I first read and studied saying about how territories they were like essential for us to heal and fight against the climate collapse and emergency. So for me, it was like, oh, this is so surprising. I have never heard about it. My education based in the city was so far away of this reality, and for me, it was like honestly, mind shocking. And I was working back in an organization, so it was the time that I was able to learn, and now I understand how the power of education is also what can change and make more, with more passion, more inspiring, and communication serves as it, because it's a way that you can bring education, bring information for people across the globe, and that's the way that we can participate. Sorry, I have no voice.
All right, thank you so much for your amazing introductions. I think that there's a lot of material that we can cover during this session. And well, on these lines, I would like to ask you all, feel free to just grab the mic and the floor, about your main issues that you're trying to, overcome and communicate. So, through your networks, how do you, approach them, um, and yeah, how do you overcome the challenges that you are trying to face in your respective communities? I don't know if you like to start. Perhaps you.
Yeah, sure. As I was saying, I am here mainly like bringing the word of a sister from our collective in Mexico, and maybe just wanted to share a bit more of context on that. So Ita Shavi is one of the members of the Indigenous Futures Network, and she's a New Savvy woman. And she, next to their brothers and sisters from the New Savvy community in Oaxaca, they are also part of the Indigenous Futures Network. And as I was saying, the Indigenous Futures Network is, we call it a network of narratives, and we intend to hack the narratives in which we talk about the climate crisis, really spotlight how Indigenous peoples and land defenders are living solutions to the climate crisis. And so, in line with that, the community of Itashavi produced a documentary called Kikuyo Nyuyo Nidei, which means embroidering resistance. So in 2021, 3 communities in the Ñusavi, we call it like the high mixed region of Oaxaca in southern Mexico, they were displaced with firearms for defending the forest. Currently, these families continue without returning to their places of origin. Meanwhile, they continue to defend the forest through daily practice. The force that exists in relation to the land, planning, memory, and embroidery, and the teachings that they transmit to their daughters and sons. So the interests of different power actors are destroying the forest, the rivers, the seas, the mountains, and the jungles. And all of this is contributed not only to an environmental imbalance, but also puts at risk and endangers the peoples who have ancestrally cared for the territories and life. Um, and so they have produced a documentary that I would like to play a part of it with you. And they produce a small documentary to keep the memory of this process, but also to spread awareness about it.
Can we play the documentary number 3, the third video?
Imagínate acá Europa y que imagínate que más cambia con mis para mí. Poco lo más el purun chiqui. Poco lo país que es canchi, no se ve esto que me dice, ¿no? Ahí es que Europa iban pasto pues chaki kuchkani khawasa ikchina to ko pampa kono rikyo. Yora khaya kuchkani nas pachay pa ya saping isem ramonten ya chaki ronganya na ya mananya pasto na muya monganya chu.
Año ya casi 50.
La mitad.
Yo papá que año era 6 agosto, septiembre, octubre tabaño por. Siempre lo que extraño me que animal. Me contaban las tías más grandes de que la papa se sembraba años atrás. No era la primera vez que lo sembrábamos, sino que esa papa ya se sembraba 40 años atrás. Entonces, en ese tiempo, en el 2019, subimos a retomar esa costumbre que ya tenían 40 años atrás que lo venían sembrando. Pero cuando fuimos a ese cerro yo vi los árboles y vi que los árboles estaban marcados con color rojo, una tache, o como se dice, una X. Así estaban marcados los árboles. Ahí fue donde ellos les empezó empezaron a decir, a hacer sus reuniones, que nosotros los de Ndoyonoyuji fuimos, hicimos ecocidio.
En el 2003, 2004, comienza otra vez Atatlauca, pero Atatlauca ya comienza a poner aserraderos. Ponen su aserradero donde está Yucuiji, donde está Atatlauca, Progreso. Surgen dos aserraderos que empiezan a talar nuevamente los árboles. Y entran a esa zona donde sembramos papa, a Yosotuzá, a arrasar, echaron brecha y todo eso. ¿Qué fue? La inconformidad de todos. Otra vez nos organizamos, pero ¿qué pasa esta vez? Ahí entramos puras mujeres. Aserradero, Progreso, Duba, Yosotuzá, gente loco de tu no ni casama ni tu de nunta no chinyu ka no ina de ni kendo de ni kunta de ni kungo ni tu de ni ka gente de juno tu va yo so tu sa ina de
donda tukunani hengona yuanika nama tukuna yuani nanani makutu sigu na nanani josona chinuni hengona oteni 2006 ni kakende na moto de ni.
Sí, había amenazas, porque había muchas amenazas. No tomamos caso a esas amenazas, porque no pensábamos que esto iba a ser tan feo. Entonces, en la noche del 21 de octubre, nos llega la información. Y nos llega la información y nos dicen que van a quemar todas las casas. Que dicen, no se preocupen, ya llegó la Guardia Nacional. Entonces nosotros nos tranquilizamos porque pensamos que la Guardia Nacional iba a llegar a ¿qué? A mediar la situación y que esto no pasara a mayores. Pero no, nomás la Guardia Nacional llegó, se dio la media vuelta y vámonos. No tiene mucho que se dio la media vuelta la Guardia Nacional y empezaron con las quemas de casas.
They basically were displaced by the National
El día
Guard.
21 ni chiño, el día 22 ni cayó, a las 3 de la mañana ni chiño, ¿verdad?
Because
Quitana ni
really tried
¿verdad, Juan?
in the forest, the trees were marked so that they could be cut.
Y niño, ¿verdad, Juan?
And then one day, the National Guard arrived and they started burning down people's houses.
Desde hino, nada más yo veo, ¿no? Me vejé
That is someone from the community
yo
who
lo
is
lastimaron,
related to the experience.
dalona, lugar no
It's basically how it was emotionally very hard for all of them.
Uvena, vejé na, kishina te vena no sana cocina te baño na no china. Ni kayo tu kudeya.
She's describing
Mañu
how
ko tu
everything
vena
was
nene
burned
de
down.
Mañu ko te wani
the
kayo
houses,
ko te de mo yo te después te ni
and
chiga
more
no
than
ta ka vena.
130 families were
Familia,
displaced that
día
day.
22.
12 de octubre. De ahí comenzó todo. Ahí fue cuando me dio mucho miedo porque ya cuando se puso feo en el Guerrero, todo se escuchaba balazos donde vivíamos. De ahí el día 3 nos llegó la noticia que mi cuñado se murió. Y de ahí sí me dio mucho miedo, tenía miedo que llegaran a matar a mi esposo también, porque como mataron a su hermano, tenía yo mucho miedo que
And
él
then
hiciera
on
algo
the next
también.
day, we were finding out who were the people that had been killed the previous
No
night.
sé, me sentí bien feo porque digo, ¿qué hago aquí? Cuando yo estaba en la oscuridad huyendo como migrante o no sé, ya estoy yo sintiendo otra cosa, ¿qué estoy haciendo aquí?
And she's now telling about the experience of how they realized that they were becoming migrants because they were being displaced out of their community. And we were sharing this short documentary because we wanted to share that this is not only a way for the community to preserve the memory of what happened. Not all of the memories that we have to preserve are necessarily of good things. It is also necessary to remember how people have been displaced, how people have struggled to defend their land. So it serves a double purpose. It gives people a way to preserve that memory of the process and the displacement that they had to go through. But then it also serves as a product of communication to be able to share with people outside of the community and give them a bit like a sneak peek into what they had to go through when that happened.
Thank you very much. That's an amazing production, and I wish that we could watch the whole documentary. Seems to be really professional, especially telling the message from its core, from the local people that were eventually forced to migrate. I would like to hear now about Alexis' work. What message do you try to narrow to tell through your stories, and how do you communicate them?
In the first part, I'm going to present a teaser about Muyo. And when the video is finished, I'm So I will talk to you about what Muyo is and what we do. And the video, please. The first video.
Can we please play the video?
Eh,
Mari, can we place the other video? Play? Yeah. Sorry.
teaser Muyo.
Yeah, teaser Muyu. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Um, in this moment, I'm going to speak in Spanish because I feel more comfortable. Ah, a ver, siento que es mejor en español para mí. Les quiero presentar un poco acerca de lo que es Muyo y quiénes somos.
I'm going to translate, and yeah, he said that he wants to present what Muyu is and who are they.
Muyo es una plataforma y un colectivo de comunicadores, periodistas, investigadores, defensores y dueños del territorio en Ecuador.
Muyu is a platform of storytellers, cinematographers, periodists and land defenders that preserve the territory.
Todos nosotros venimos de pueblos indígenas ancestrales de Ecuador.
We all come from the indigenous peoples and ancestral communities of the Ecuador.
Y el por qué nace Muyo es porque necesitamos empezar a crear nuevas narrativas.
And Muyu is born because we need to create new narratives.
Es momento de empezar a crear espacios propios en donde nosotros podamos contar lo que nos pasa en nuestros territorios.
We need to create spaces of our own where we can tell people what is happening in our territories.
Es momento también de que la academia, la ciencia, el periodismo, la comunicación en general, deje de hablar sobre soluciones para pueblos indígenas, porque las soluciones están en nosotros.
Because it is moment that the academia, the media, and the communicators that are outside the communities stop telling about the solutions that are in the territories that are not their own.
Muchos de quienes estamos ahora trabajando en Muyo y creando esta nueva plataforma audiovisual, venimos de un trabajo territorial tremendo en donde hemos sido amenazados, en donde hemos sido perseguidos políticamente por el Estado, por las empresas y muchas de las veces incluso amenazados de muerte en general por el extractivismo en nuestros territorios.
And Muyu, it's born after a whole territorial processes where we have been tackled and violated by the
Amenazados.
yeah, and threatened by the work, the territorial work that we're doing.
Entonces, creemos que la comunicación es la principal herramienta para promulgar la lucha.
We believe that communication is one of the most important tools that we can use to communicate our fight.
Es por ello que Muyo permite este espacio de amplificación de las voces que existen en los territorios.
That is why Muyu allows for this space of communication that happen.
Más que un medio de comunicación, somos una red de alianzas que permiten compartir conocimiento y permiten sostener procesos territoriales.
And more than being just a communication space, it is a network of allies that can work to amplify the territorial processes.
Y es por ello que tenemos dos campañas que hemos sostenido bien fuerte a través de Muyo, a través del audiovisual.
That is why we have two major campaigns that are the ones that have been developing on Muyu and on the audiovisual.
En el pasado mes de agosto, en Ecuador, se realizó la consulta popular para dejar el petróleo bajo tierra en el bloque 43 en el campo de la reserva del Yasuní.
Past month, this happened, the Yasuni consultation that allowed for the call for the preservation of the oil on the ground in the 32 region of the Ecuadorian Amazon.
Y nosotros promovimos desde el territorio con la organización Guaurani del Ecuador justamente la campaña de impulsar el mensaje que los que viven en el territorio querían transmitirle al mundo.
And in the Amazon, we also communicated this with the Waorani region that they wanted to share with the world what was happening in the region.
Y también ahora, hace una semana me parece, el Congreso de Panamá declaró creo que es el artículo 406, que decía que es inconstitucional el tema de las concesiones mineras en Panamá, y toda la campaña audiovisual que se realizó con Panamá Te Queremos Verde fue promovido por nosotros con Muyo también.
And last week, we also promoted the Panama I Want You Green, a campaign under the consultation and the approval of the government on the a mining concession that the government had approved, and they participated against that.
Y desde ahí hemos creado alianzas como en México con Afrocaracolas, en Brasil con Media Indígena. Estamos trabajando también en el Perú con un documental que pronto les voy a contar sobre Yacurraimi, con Mongabay y con otras organizaciones en todo el Avia Yala.
And we have created joint campaigns with organizations in Mexico, Caracol, Afro Caracol, in Brazil with Media Indígena, Perú, con DJ Eric Terena.
Y lo importante de nosotros es que necesitamos construir un nuevo proceso.
And what is important for us is that we want to create a new process.
Hemos visto cómo la comunicación siempre está ligada a que los pueblos indígenas seamos folclorizados, seamos utilizados y seamos vistos como un objeto o como un recurso dentro de todas las áreas posibles de la comunicación.
We have seen how in communication, indigenous peoples are often folklorized, are objectivized, and yeah.
Es por ello que lo que nosotros construimos es formación, es alianzas, es sostenimiento y es arte.
That's why what we create is capacity building, is networking, and is to
Arte.
and art.
Lo bonito y por qué Muyo conecta con el mundo es porque transmitimos a través del audiovisual lo que nosotros vivimos y lo que nosotros sentimos.
And what makes people connect with Muyu is because we use these digital audiovisual tools to communicate with the world.
Y ahora mismo, igual en la COP, como Muyo, estamos siendo soporte o como una herramienta que permita sostener los procesos que se van construyendo en las luchas y en las resistencias.
And right now at COP as well, we are now being this space that in which we can support all this work that is happening on the ground in their territories.
En esta COP28 estamos siendo el soporte de jóvenes amazónicos, una alianza de jóvenes indígenas en la Amazonía ecuatoriana. Estamos siendo soporte de varias organizaciones como la Organización Guaraní del Ecuador, que está presente aquí en la COP. Estamos siendo soporte también de esta nueva iniciativa que está lanzándose desde el Caucus Indígena, que es el foro de jóvenes para el cambio climático, de jóvenes indígenas para el cambio climático, que nos permite como sostener y como promulgar nuestras propias voces.
And right now at COP as well, we are being the supporters of the Amazonian youth, of the Guarani people, and of the International Indigenous Youth Caucus on Climate Change. And yeah, we are now sharing our voices through all this.
Así que nunca más un mundo sin nosotros. Y aquí estaremos haciendo bulla en todo lado.
So there's never a world without us, and we're going to keep in here making some noise.
Bravo.
Make some noise.
Amazing, Alexis. I wish that we could hear from you and watch more documentaries all day because they are really well made, but especially, as you said, you create those narratives that are missing by yourselves, which obviously makes a difference, right? Through your lenses. Okay, well, shall we hear from Shananin now? Or Eric? Eric Turner first, yeah. If you want to go from Brazil, Media
Gracias.
Indígena.
Sí, yo igual voy a hablar en español, perdón. Es que... Oh, português. Yeah, problema, help me. I speak Portuguese. Oh, you, I did. Olá, pessoal. Não, Terena. Naki Noé, Eric Terenoé.
Ele tá falando alguma coisa da galera.
Yeah, Terena, Paloma start learning Terena community, but you learn,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, Unati. A mídia indígena surgiu em 2015 por conta do movimento indígena chamado Acampamento Terra Livre em Brasília.
Media Indigena was born in 2015 because of the Free Land Camp that is a camp that unites indigenous people every year in Brasilia.
E na época a gente estava na mobilização em busca, né, de uma saúde indígena melhor, de uma demarcação das terras indígenas e em busca também do fortalecimento da comunicação, principalmente.
And at the time, we were really fighting for access to health, access to our lands back to demarcate these lands, and as well finding our space into communication.
E, bom, nós passamos por diferentes processos, 10 anos para cá, a mídia indígena vai completar 10 anos, com mais de 800 indígenas com workshops que a gente fez, contemplados, né, indígenas contemplados, e um ponto mais importante foi o fortalecimento da articulação do movimento indígena, principalmente em Brasília.
Oh no, that's amazing. They are realizing that they are coming to get through 10 years since they were born, and they were very important inside the movement to mobilize in Brasilia, where these freelance camps happen, which is the capital. And during these 10 years, with the workshops that they do on indigenous formation into communication tools, they have over than 400 indigenous youth into learning.
E o mais importante também é que hoje, depois de todo esse tempo muito recente, a gente conseguiu alcançar um Ministério Indígena, nós conseguimos alcançar conexões com Muyo, conexão com Culture Hack, também com Fridays, e também muitas outras organizações que também trabalham diretamente com comunidades tradicionais. Yeah, and sorry, I'm not speaking English. Yeah, a gente, mesmo desse tempo para cá, né, a gente conseguiu fortalecer, né, juntando coisas coletivas como Culture Hack, Muyo, Fridays e também muitos outros coletivos que sempre nos apoiaram de maneira involuntária também.
Yeah, during this time we were able to connect and fortify our collective by connecting with collectives as Muyo, as Fridays, as different ones. So we were able to make a stronger network.
E o principal papel da comunicação indígena, do mídia indígena, foi combater principalmente as ameaças e também a forma de como as pessoas ou a outra imprensa, né, o outro lado da comunicação, falavam sobre nós, né, falando sobre esse combate à criminalização dos nossos povos.
And our main job was to make a front against how the other media, let's say the media that is the main one, but not the main one, but the one that has like the power, let's say, to combat misinformation, because they were always like criminalizing the images, indigenous people, their actions, their initiatives. So Media Indigena really served to bring the real information and to bring an information from the ground.
E aí a gente embarcou, né, com a PIB, com a Articulação dos Povos Indígenas por 14 países, criamos podcast, né, disponível no Spotify, criamos também o videocast no YouTube do Mídia Indígena.
So we also we made like como diz? Sim, mas como diz jornada? We traveled from 14 countries to work on a campaign that was called Nenhuma Gota Menos. No. No indigenous blood. Something. No indigenous blood hashtag. And we were able to work together with the National Association of Indigenous People. And we did podcasts, videocast, and also on translating this information back.
E para finalizar, tem muita história para poder contar, né? Mas acho que o que é mais importante, né, o marco temporal hoje, né, que é um projeto de lei que não acabou ainda e que a gente continua ainda combatendo essa desinformação. E que desinformação é essa que eu estou falando? Vou falar sobre isso. Rápido.
Okay. But the main threat that we are facing right now is the temporal mark, which is now coming mostly threatening in the form of a bill. And that's why I'm going to talk right now about misinformation and the work we are doing.
Bom, no Brasil, a gente sabe que nós não temos alguns territórios reconhecidos.
In Brazil, we all know that we don't have some territories that are recognized.
Então, muitos indígenas vivem à beira de estradas, vivem em reservas e sem o seu território legítimo.
And a lot of indigenous groups, especially in his area of Brazil, Paloma compliment. They live like in the side of roads, and they are fighting back for their lands, but they don't have the access and the space for it.
Então, hoje, esses povos, né, por estarem ali, eles são criminalizados e muitas vezes são colocados como dependentes do governo e também como pessoas que não ajudam o desenvolvimento econômico do país. Mas, pelo contrário, nós mantemos intacto aí a biodiversidade, lutamos pela cultura e também utilizamos a nossa ancestralidade para reeducar essa sociedade, para reflorestar as mentes, como dizem o pessoal do nosso movimento, né? E o pessoal aí, os parentes, e garantir o nosso futuro.
Okay, a lot of things, but let's try to survive. But that's why these indigenous groups that are especially in these difficult areas, they are threatened, criminalized, and that's why we need to unite and to fight against this misinformation, because as we say in our movement, we need to reforestate mind. Reflorestar as mentes para quê? And free the future, como diz Matsi. Oh, how Matsi says.
É isso, falar sobre comunicação. My friend Matsi is a singer from Brazil. Have a song, Freedom the Future. Yeah, Liberte o Futuro. Yes, Freedom the Future is an amazing song. Thank you, Paloma, to translate. And I know talk about the communications is easy, but in the practice is a very, very hard to us. And thank you so much to share with you. Thank you so much.
Woo! And he translates better than me.
And yeah, to keep the conversation in this Amazonian region, we're now going to hear again because Alexis wants to make an announcement as well.
Okay. In my final speech, I'm going to present a video about our video. His name is Yaku Raime. He's explained about the issues about indigenous people in Peru, in Ayacucho. She's explained about the issues about the climate change with what is Nevado? Snowy?
Snow.
And his video is going to present on Sunday in the other pavilion. In the entertainment and culture pavilion, and Sunday at 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock p.m. And I invite to look the video.
Yeah.
Imagínate que acá Europa es capaz. Imagínate el clima cambia con mis familia. Okla más el purun chiqui. Okla país piscascanchi, no se ve esto que me dice. A es que Europa iban pasto pues chaki kuchkani khawasa ikchina to ko pampa kono rikyo. Yora ya kuchkani nas pachai pa ya saping isem ramonten ya chaki ronganya na ya mananya pasto na muya monganya chu.
Año ya casi 50.
La mitad.
Yo papá que año era 6 agosto, septiembre, octubre tabaño cura. Siempre lo que extraño es que animales que van a tener mamá to pacha cosas, animales toco tener mamá to pacha cosas, mai mamá to mil vai estamos.
Animal que cuidan. China ya, pues, señor portuguesa, señor Aritipata, Hawan Kinispan, animal puño pakaram tienes ningún. Au kachki.
Mana cingkan.
China, kunang manan saya tak ya ni kunang.
¿Cree que volverán a llevar a Aritipata?
Yo seguro que no, porque ahorita está bastante dificultad.
Visit with a Monga guide in Peru, and he's explained about the one indigenous fest. In this fest, the indigenous people have a connection with a Pachamama, with a earth. And in this moment, this fest is very different because the snowing and don't have in this place. And this video is to explain about this fest, what the connection have the dancers, indigenous dancers in Spanish is called tijerateros, and his connection is this is the connected about the community with a Pachamama, and his video is how many minutes? It's about 11 minutes, and I'm going to invite to view in the other pavilion on Sunday. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yes, thanks so much, Alexis, once more, and especially Eric Terina for your intervention. We've gone from showcasing the cultural, gastronomical, migratory points of view from Oaxaca, Mexico. We've talked about misinformation spread over the news in Brazil, very interesting about indigenous peoples. Activism through filmmaking and documentary, for example, through the campaign for protecting the Yasuni, which eventually turned out to pass and be declined. And last but not least, we've got Shannon with us from Puebla, Mexico.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Mia as Maria, we are from Mexico, and in there as well, like communication processes have been done in collaboration with various organizations like Legaya, the organization which I am from, which is a youth collective on climate justice. We collaborate a lot with the Indigenous Network Futures, where Maria is a member. And through there, we have met this organization that is called Culture Hack Labs, and we learned a lot from them for the culture hacking processes, which is a methodology that we use to change the narratives in which we tell climate change to other people. And also through that processes, we have been reflecting on our own territorial processes, on the climate movement, on the conflicts that we see in the places where we live. And through there, we have understood that many of us in the organization, we are now living in Mexico City because we're either studying, we're working, but most of us come from other parts of Mexico. I specifically come from the southern region of Puebla, which is like a tropical desert where a lot of factory farm is happening. And that is why we had also been knowing about how industries, about how climate change operates. And right now that we are in Mexico City, we wanted to talk about how food production works in the city and how centralization of means of money of different interests are centralized in the city, in a huge city like Mexico City is. And we were then wondering through culture hacking if this city where we live now was also a territory that we should defend. And that is like the narrative that we created through these processes, that we connected with Climate Hope. And now we have this narrative project that is called cities as territories of transition, to think about how the cities in where we live right now can also become these spaces where climate activists meet and they can actually hack the climate activist movement to connect with the land defenders and the territories where us are from already, but also with territories that are already resisting the climate crisis. So through this process, we also released a podcast where each member like tells the stories that they have lived, tells the different conflicts that they have been part of. And yeah, what we tried to achieve with this was to decentralize the narratives of the climate crisis and talk as well from the place where we are right now, to not sort of appropriate as well of other fights that are not ours. And yeah.
Thank you, Shannon. Amazing. Great input from today. I'm afraid that we are running out of time, but I would like to quickly ask for a very, very last question, super quickly from your side as well, because we are very impressed by what we've seen today. And in my opinion, it's been very effective. But what advice could you give to young environmentalists that are interested and are thinking about doing what you are doing, communicating through filmmaking, journalism, documentaries, etc.
Yeah, I relate a lot to the experience of Alexis because I started doing a bit of journalism on the ground after attending COP26, and I realized we need to tell our own stories because the Western media is not ready to understand our narratives, and they just cannot portray our messages in the way that we do. So I think for me, it's been to understand that we have the right to tell our own story. We do not need to be the ones that are being interviewed. We can create our own interviews, create our own processes, create our own channels of communication. So I think that would be the advice for me, to not be shy and just like take a camera or your phone and start recording something, um, and tell your own narrative on how climate change is impacting you and your community.
La voy a hacer otra vez en español. Nada, solo pienso que de manera corta es momento de empezar a construir esas nuevas narrativas y sobre todo que el mundo entienda y permita que esas nuevas narrativas sean introducidas dentro de los procesos de negociación.
Yeah, Alexis thinks that these narratives from the indigenous communities need to be created, and that also these spaces, other spaces, need to understand the way in which. Yeah, and they also need to understand as well how these narratives are emerging from their own places.
Y sobre todo que respetemos las nuevas visiones, las nuevas formas de trabajo que están existiendo y que nos permitamos creer y confiar en los pueblos indígenas que están construyendo estos productos o estas formas de transmitir desde su realidad. Y como pudimos ver en lo que hace Muyo, hay calidad, hay empeño, hay compromiso y sobre todo hay enfoque en que queremos cambiar el mundo. Y todo esto desde los pueblos indígenas.
And in these processes, like Muyu, we already have the skills to create narratives of quality that are disruptive and that are telling the stories that we care for. And yeah, like my answer to the question would be that, yeah, like I think historically indigenous communities, since colonialism, like before we used to tell stories through like oral history, through like oral stories, and after that we learned how to write in the language of the colonizer to keep telling these stories. And now I think that through digitalization of the world, globalization, we are now using all these new tools to also keep telling these stories. So I believe that historically we have these tradition of like occupying the places where we are not supposed to be, but that we are actually harnessing to keep being ourselves, to be keep telling our stories. And yeah, so that's like my answer, to like not be afraid of new. So that would be like my answer, to see how in this world and in this emerging and changing world as well, and climate, we can keep telling like these stories of resistances and learn from all of these processes.
Hablar espanhol ou português? É português? Ok. Vou falar em português. Paloma vai me ajudar outra vez. Acho que a mensagem que a gente tem para trazer enquanto mídia indígena é que a gente tem um compromisso muito amplo, principalmente enquanto indígenas dentro do território.
I think the message that we are going to bring as the media indigenous is that we have a big and ample commitment to bring the voices of the indigenous youth back in the territory.
E uma coisa muito importante é que a gente sabe que nós estamos na universidade, nós estamos agora como Ministério Indígena, nós estamos, enquanto jornalista, fazendo a diferença.
And the important thing is to know that right now we are at universities, we have a ministry, and we are making our own difference and revolution.
Então, realmente, a gente está fazendo a diferença diante de um país colonial que ainda existe no Brasil, infelizmente.
And we are making the difference in a still colonial and colonizer and colonized country as Brazil.
Então, a gente sabe que hoje nós indígenas só temos essa força porque nós temos essa ligação, como fazemos com o Equador, como fazemos com o México, como fazemos também com o Chile, e toda a região amazônica do Brasil conectada, porque nós indígenas, nós nos sentimos família, né, quando estamos dentro desse espaço de movimento.
Oh, and what makes us able to resist with different countries in Latin America, Ecuador, Mexico, Chile, the connection with all the groups in the Amazon is that we relate as family in this fight.
Isso, e a gente precisa realmente mudar essa forma de ver o próximo, de ver a nossa vizinhança, de ver quem está ali junto com a gente nesse espaço. Então, a forma indígena talvez seria essa mensagem de repensar, né, como a gente vê o mundo, repensar como a gente pode mudar também ele a partir dos nossos próprios meios, né, criação e também a imagem do nosso futuro.
And we need to change how we see the other person, how we see the world, how we understand and how we connect with our community.
A gente mostrou que nós indígenas podemos fazer muita coisa e a prova disso é que a gente está aqui nesses espaços. Então a gente tem que acreditar em nós mais ainda para que a gente possa mudar tudo isso.
We demonstrated several times we can do whatever we want and we can be whatever we want to be. And that's the reason we were able to reach spaces like this and also be here connecting and sharing our amazing initiatives.
Thank you. Obrigado, sorry.
That's it.